everyone to the LEC in our third game of the day, Vitality versus Rogue. The story of Rogue's journey has been defined by a constant growth, an upward trajectory into an eclectic, unstoppable winning machine. Listen, when it comes to Rogue, I know we sound very hyped, but I think we've got reason to be hyped. And if we compare it to kind of things that are going on in the world right now, they've made a fantastic long-term investment. They held on to the stonks, and they built on their successes, fostering their talent coming from the ERLs, and now they're booming, baby.
Where are they heading?
To the moon.
To the moon?
Absolutely.
Oh.
To the moon. I think when you look at this team, and it's hard to say anything otherwise. Their trajectory so far in these games has been up and up and up and up, and no matter who's tried to stop them, no matter who's tried to convince them not to continue to hold.
Diamond hands, and I know this may sound funny, but I actually think it kind of works because of the fact that they've just held on to their core beliefs and invested in the players that came up from their own ERL team in AGE or Rogue, or looked across other ERL leagues to see which talent they could fish up and then supplement that with some of the experienced players. And their investments are so diversified, Caedrel. They can approach the game in so many ways.
They can indeed. I think Rogue is the one team that you can look at in the LEC over the last 2 years and say their academy, the plan worked really well. Taking Trymbi, taking players like Finn and Larssen from the academy team, even Vander, who started in the academy team, and just look at their comps, the amount of play styles they have. The first one, you've got scaling mid and bot with push. You have an early game jungle to get them through the early game into the mid to late game so they can get their items and carry. The second comp, it's more of like a CC setup comp, really strong top side. Kai'Sa super good for the team fights with one global. And then the third comp, double global with double pushing sides and really, really volatile lanes. I think that Rogue have just executed their draft so well, the game plan so well, and they're just looking so hot.
Is the biggest change so far that they are looking much less one-dimensional than they may have done last year?
Yeah, I think that historically Rogue have always been a team that has played kind of usually one meta style very well. But what we see here is like, if you tell me that Rogue can win with his first composition, no one's surprised. That's Pantheon and TF together on the same team. That should not be possible to get. But as we go through, the comps become harder and harder to execute. True. And Rogue continued to play incredibly proficiency. Nidalee in the LEC, gigantic bait pick. But in the hands of Inspired, it looks super good. This composition that was very fragile that they played yesterday, very high risk, I would say, still worked out in their favor because they executed it so well.
Yeah, the bottom comp there is the easiest to execute. 100%. I think most LEC teams would love to play that comp. The second and the first one really have different priorities here. You have the second one with lots of single target damage and not many late game win conditions other than the Kai'Sa. And then the top one has just late game win conditions with a Jace, which you need to cover in the early game. So lots of different things they have to cover and play for. And lots of these, all of their comps they're running, they have to make plays. Whether it's Olaf in the jungle has to start snowballing or the globals have to start being activated. Because I think if Rogue were very, very passive with these comps, they would have lost in 20
Yeah, a good
25
example
minutes.
is yesterday's game, of course, with the Malphite from Misfits. That could really disrupt that team, but they played it out correctly. And a big part of what's making this all possible now is the top lane with Odoamne. Odoamne, who really is an absolute rock in that top lane. He has been for many years in the LEC, but now it seems almost like Cinderella has found her shoe, or I don't know how that goes, but you know what I mean? He's on the team and everything is working out because of everyone around him, and that's making him shine even more.
Yeah, and you can see, obviously, Finn was a guy that had some struggles, had some good games last season, but when you compare statistically to Odoamne, Odoamne has been so far a cut above, and that's a really big deal for this team overall, not just because it means the top lane is not going to be a liability, he's very independent, he can play on his own, he can build his own advantages, that's all great, but more importantly, Inspired can ignore him. Inspired can just keep power farming, playing the map how he wants to, be more focused on the enemy jungler, so he never has to worry about top lane again, or at least so far this split, and as a result, you see it in the jungle proximity, 7.4, so incredibly low. He spends no time on the top side of the map except to take Krugs. I would not be surprised if at least 5% of that is him walking past Odoamne on his way to Krugs.
Yeah, I think there's 3 key points there. The first one, Drakos nailed it, it's the jungle proximity. It's lower than Finn's. The second one is the fact that he has higher CSDs. And the third one is his flexibility. He can play anything you want. He can get the CSDs with low jungle proximity. It's like the perfect top laner that you need.
Yeah, and once again, this is not a dig against Finn. This is just the fact that Odoamne brings so many things to a team and to a top lane. And on top of that, there is the individuals on the team that all seem to shine. We've talked about it before, but in lane, they don't really have a lot of resistance. They're always able to build up their own CS advantages, and that way they can move around the map, take the objectives and build up their gold that way. They don't necessarily have to brawl and put themselves in dangerous positions. They just play it out methodically.
Yeah, and additionally, the things that I love is that it's like the Rogue from last year has taken all these lessons and improved, because the vision trap that they set up here is classic Rogue from last year. We were so happy for this team when they consistently started doing this last year. Now they're doing that, but they're also dominating lanes, but they're also snowballing leads much more aggressively. We're not seeing the same mid to late game stall outs that we're used to seeing in the past from Rogue, and overall it's just this is a top contender right now in the league.
Yeah, there's so much individual and team prowess on this roster. I think the fact that you can win your lanes is one thing, and then that's an individual statement. And then the second thing is team fighting with these single target damage champions, which are so difficult to execute. You know, you can scale up to 40 minutes and go even against a team who's just as bad or just as good as you, and then just get one shockwave or one massive team fight to clutch it. But Rogue, they have the clutch factor, but they also have the team fight set up to actually get the correct fights. So it doesn't have to look flashy, it's just well executed.
Great point. You're also seeing some of the individuals, rather, like Larssen, really diversifying what they can do and what they can bring to the Rift, what they're willing to pick, the way they are willing to play. So the big question is, how far can this row go? And I know it's always such a fluff one because nobody really knows, but I think what I really want to drive home here is the potential that this roster could have to upset the top dogs in the league come playoff time.
I think if you're not watching the LEC regularly, you're always just going to assume that finals or that the big hype best of 5 at the end of the season is going to be G2 Fnatic. And don't get me wrong, Fnatic are developing, but right now it's Rogue G2. Yep. And that's well earned. And that's admittedly a small sample size, but that's something that has to be respected because this team finally looks like they are ready to go toe-to-toe with the best teams in Europe consistently. Not a single split of finishing first and then bombing out in playoffs, consistently going toe-to-toe with the top teams.
High hopes for Rogue, and tonight Vitality will try to stop the stampeding Rogue, so let's see if they can pull it off.
And welcome back to the Caster Desk. We are not going to hear from our Poro friends again like we did last week.
But we all wish we could.
And Ender bringing you the last 3 games. Yeah, it definitely went perfectly last week, didn't it?
You know, it didn't. No one needs to remember how, you know, the Poro stopped talking after a while and we had to stick here for a long time. But
just a little bit.
Maybe one day we'll bring them back.
So we're about to jump into Rogue versus Vitality. I think uphill battle here for Vitality. Rogue, the only other undefeated team in the league along with G2 right now. And you heard it from the Analyst desk. They are just looking and playing fantastically. When you look at Rogue, in terms of the dominance, they have the highest goal difference at 15. They have the highest CSD at 15. They get 100% of the first towers in the games they play. They are just playing exquisite League of Legends.
Yeah, that all sounds great. And the other awesome thing is that they can do it in a lot of different ways. You know, Trymbi has played 4 different champions in 4 games here. For Rogue, the Analyst desk did a great job of breaking down how they've showed a lot of different styles with the range supports, with the poke, heavy pressure in lanes, as well as the team fight. So Rogue really can throw you just about anything here, and Vitality are going to have to be prepared for it in the draft.
So let's see what direction they go. Obviously, the favorites are still featuring the Camille, the Olaf, the Pantheon, the Taliyah. Twisted Fate is something that's on my mind as well. Currently still undefeated here at Europe, 8-0. For everybody that's been able to get their hands on the Master of the Cards. And the Thresh of next ban will be Lucian. This is an interesting one for me. Out of the 7 games we've seen this weekend, picked once, banned 3 times.
Yeah, and Milica has actually played that Lucian before. Milica's been very focused on very lane-dominant champions in the mid. Even had 2 LeBlanc games, interestingly enough, here. So with Lucian gone, I'm curious to see what he goes for. With the Thresh ban, that removes sort of Aphelios as one of those solid options. And now for Rogue, I think the Pantheon has to come through. So the glorious 3 junglers here need to be taken off board, which of course opens up that Twist Fate just like we were talking about.
No real surprises, but with the jungle pool hit pretty hard. What direction does Skeanz and Inspired want to take it? Lilia is something we have seen a little bit. The Nidalee, something we've seen as well. Skeanz actually played the Nidalee last weekend as well.
Skeanz has been very attached to those like heavy farming, scaling picks. You know, he's played the Taliyah, the Nidalee, the Graves. I would expect to see him gravitate more in that direction. Maybe a Nidalee with the Twisted Fate locked in next to it. Could be a solid 1-2 punch in the mid side.
And over on the Rogue camp, it is the Renekton and Kai'Sa already secured. We just heard a deep dive on Odoamne, just how well he is performing, how well he has played for Rogue. I think yesterday there was a fantastic stat in-game that he forgot what his jungler looked like with 71% isolated time across the course of week number 1. And the opposite number will now be the Gnar. So Szygenda, I think, is going to be running that one into Odo's Renekton. It's going to be a fairly difficult matchup if Odo is able to get going, get running. Szygenda hasn't quite found the groove just yet.
Yeah, of course, with the Twisted Fate, you do have some more influence over those side lanes, especially the later we get into the game. So curious to see how Vitality can sort of use those solo laners, already showing their hand very early on. I'd expect to see maybe a jungle pick to come through here, and it's actually going to be the Udyr here, which I am personally a big fan of, especially against a lot of these lower range carries, as Larssen's signature Ryze gets locked too. And I think this is a pick that we saw it banned yesterday. I've seen it floating around just a bit as a solid answer into the Twisted Fate, right? You fight global with global, and then in terms of like scaling into the late game side lane pressure, Ryze is going to be an absolute force to be reckoned with.
and will be able to easily rune prison the potential rundown from this Udyr. This is now the fourth time we've seen it here in EU. It's 0-3 at the moment. I've seen 2 ghosts.
But I promise you it's actually good. I promise, guys.
But it also fits what you were saying. Skeanz likes to have the clear, the farm, the scale type, and like this Udyr's clear speed is fantastic. The ban from Vitality is going to be the Nidalee, removing that one from Inspite. Another champion denied. And with the Kai'Sa Kalista removed from Rogue, as they've locked in the Kai'Sa, they're going to be pinching Comp's champion pool. What do you think you want to run to enable this type of setup so far?
I mean, me personally, I just want to see the Ashe come back for Comp. I thought that was like probably the most successful game we've seen from Vitality. They were able to come away with a win for it, and just spamming that 37-second Ashe arrow cooldown looked very powerful for Vitality. Would, of course, also give you good control over the bottom lane, but we'll see what they go for too, because now that Xayah's gone, and Xayah is another one of those ADCs that has good control over the wave via her feathers.
So Inspired's not going to be able to pick the Lilia either. That's also removed from the pool. 5 jungle bans already, as well as that Xayah was the final one targeting Comp. Now, Rogue will need to at least lock in either their support or their jungle for the time being. And Trymbi has shown a number of champions as one of the players that I think has been impactful throughout the course of this Rell Kai'Sa combination. Obviously, the killer instinct into the root, it just works so well.
Yeah, we'll be bringing that one back for Trymbi. Played that last week, I do believe. And now Rogue, they're going to need some physical damage out of the jungle, I feel like, especially with Larssen on this Ryze. You don't want to stack too much of that magic damage. As far as what Vitality is going to be concerned with, they need a bot lane that can fight back against the Kai'Sa and Rell, and, well, that may just do it. Rell can struggle to get on top of you, and I think a Vayne with a Condemn away could be pretty effective at dodging any sort of those engages here from Rogue.
Vayne, Braum into the Kai'Sa Rell. Short-range comps all around, some globals, obviously, with the Ryze and the TF, but I think you have to execute so well. When you look at this Vitality composition, what do you sort of make of it and how it's going to play out?
I mean, it's a little all over the place,
yes.
right? There's no immediate, like, obvious, like, synergies when it comes to the team fight, right? Primarily, you have the one big AoE CC coming out of that Gnar, but even that's going to be a little bit unreliable. Whereas this Udyr, primarily, you're just going to be sprinting through the team with a ghost on, you know, slapping bears all over the place, getting as many stuns down as you possibly can. So really, they have a lot of CCs to play off of, like, individual CCs with an Udyr, a gold card, the Braum, and you're just trying to set up and buy space for this Vayne. They're going to be trying to play back in these fights and allowing Vayne space in order to get off her DPS. But now with the Jarvan thrown into the mix, there's going to be a lot chucked her way.
I mean, there's so much. With the flag, drag, cataclysm, you can lock somebody in place, of course. Now Larssen will be able to try to jump onto the backline, potentially delivering more the killer instinct from Hans Sama. Oh, this is going to be a very exciting game to watch as Vitality take on Rogue. It has been years since I have cast a jungle Udyr game.
But he actually has Flash!
And he has Flash!
Tell the story. Do the thing, because a lot of the Zoomers out there, myself included, never heard this story until you told me. So.
It's just one of my favorite moments in shoutcasting. Kikis played a jungle Udyr, and as he was setting up for a gank, Deficio just would not shut up.
I mean, that guy can talk for hours.
He monologued so long. And basically, by the time he stopped talking, I only had a moment or two to yell, and I just yelled Flash Bear Slap. And we managed to see a fantastic gank for Kikis in the bot lane. So I want to watch this. I want to see the setup for Skeanz, whether or not he can do the same thing. I do, however, think it's probably pretty important. Get away from some of the stuns and the CC from Rell, maybe get past or out of a Cataclysm if he's locked inside of that baby cage. And for the time being, he's going to be starting off on the red buff with some help here from Labrov and Comp.
Yeah, both junglers going to be starting on their reds. And typically what we see out of Udyr, he's going to start with the Tiger for that first camp, then go into the Phoenix and just blitz through his jungle. He's going to have his entire jungle cleared by the same time that the top crab is going to be spawning up into the game. And honestly, Udyr is one of the best junglers when it comes to like fighting and skirmishing early on. His base stats just very, very nice. So if you show up against a Jarvan, even though a lot of people would say, hey, Jarvan pretty solid early on, I think if you're working with any sort of priority from your lane, Skeanz can keep him around. And of course, if Jarvan commits onto you, that's your EQ gone, and you can run into a little bit of trouble. So Skeanz likely going to be building up a CS advantage out of the early clear. As you can see, already a little bit faster than Jarvan, and working towards his Raptors.
So tell me why it hasn't worked just yet. 0-3 at the moment. This is now the 4th time that we have seen it. You know, is this composition that Vitality have put together, it's a little bit piecemeal, going to be able to enable or take advantage of Udyr?
Honestly, I don't really think so. I think Vitality's comp really does hinge on comp's success, ironically enough here. Again, like I was sort of talking about in draft, the cohesive team fight, how do you work together, is not let's all dive in on Larssen, or let's get Hansama, let's layer a couple of big ultimates. No, it really is just about building space for comp, and that's why you have something like the Braum thrown into this 5 stack as well here with the gold card too. It's all about that space you can buy, and the question is, does it actually work? Because there's so many dive options from Rogue with the Jarvan, even a Kai'Sa can go flying on in there, that I think the fights are going to be really challenging for her.
Well, the amount of CC that can come down if Braum and Bearstorm Skeanz are able to slap a few people around, maybe, but man, the level of execution and the amount of time they'll need to pull that one off is...
Yeah. I just quickly got to jump in, because check this out. Udyr's already on the crab, so that thing spawns at 3:15. It's already down. He's going to run into the enemy jungle. It does look like. In the meantime, Inspired is just now getting onto his Gromp camp, so you can see that big disparity in terms of the overall clear speed. And now Skeanz walking around Vision, trying to make a play onto Odo, but with the positioning of the wave here, I don't think this gank is actually ever going to come to fruition.
And I'm just looking at the minimap. You can see Inspired just stepping into the river and clearing out his own scuttle. I mean, it's the amount of time that is earned by Skeanz as Hansama and Trymbi going to step forward. Labrov will put up the Unbreakable. Comp stays a little healthy for now, but look at the damage difference. Hansama and Trymbi absolutely winning that 2v2.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure being put bot side, and Skeanz actually decided to go reset and then get back towards bot lane in case there's a play going down here. Also, his Krugs is going to be spawning. It's interesting. Already, it was a 15-second difference between when the Krug camp was respawning. So Skeanz is Krugs. The second camp he took came up so much faster, and now he's going to be around this bottom lane.
Inspired's going to finish the recall. No, he doesn't. He holds on to it for now. There's the engage coming up from Labrov, and Skeanz will come in from the river. Trymbi's the first one to go low. It's first blow picked up by a Rogue. They turn their attention over, and Trymbi will now go down. It's a 1-for-1 as Vitality and Rogue trade.
Ooh, I think Vitality might have been able to commit into that fight a little bit more there, too, with Skeanz coming off of the reset. There was a big minion wave, which I think made them slow things down just a little bit, but you saw right there, 3v3 still looking pretty close, but in that extended fight, Udyr can offer a whole lot for his team, and he's already back into the farming pattern. So good stuff coming out of him already. Again, very smart that Inspired doesn't cancel his reset. Labrov tries to jump up to the minion to start applying the stacks of the concussive blows. He, of course, sacrificed his life early on, but inside that wave, you see how tanky Skeanz is with double rubies off that first reset? I'm thinking they could have gotten a little bit more there if they wanted to push the envelope a bit.
I mean, fighting into that minion wave as well, it was such a big signal that Skeanz was on the way. Comp and Labrov have been pushed all the way back under their tower. We're feeling that pressure. And you can see the bottom half of the jungle already cleared out as Skeanz now making his way up north. I'm going to keep tracking just how much more time or how early he gets to a position, but Inspired, fully aware of what Skeanz could or would do. Obviously, he showed top, clearing out that ward. And Inspired being around means it's 1-for-1, and gold is still even marginally ahead here for Vitality.
Yeah, and it's really important, because when you're playing this type of a matchup from Inspired's point of view, where you clear fast, or you clear significantly slower than your opponent, you have to get into lanes quite a bit, and he's going to be about half a level down to Skeanz right now, but because he's taking EXP from those lanes, he's able to get a kill, pull Skeanz out of the jungle for a little bit. He tries to fix some of the problems he's going to be facing in this type of a matchup. Of course, he was just spotted on the ward towards the top side of the map, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on Vitality, because they know he's top side, but even bot side, there's still a heavy push going in. Mid lane 2 from Rogue is getting an advantage there as well, and that's how Rogue like to play the games, is beating you in the lane, getting a lead just off of individual skill.
I mean, it's so important to recognize that. I mentioned it just before picks and bans, but when you look at Rogue's early game stats, plus 3k at 15, CSD on average, plus 41. First towers, they picked up the first tower in every game that they've played. And then, of course, they followed that up with really good team fights. And we saw this against Misfits yesterday. Even when they're under pressure, they make the right decisions at the right time. Now, Inspired got that Cataclysm available, will not follow the flag and drag. Gold card was primed by Milica. And Rogue are just content to continue farming this one up. Skeanz back into his own jungle, and Looking at the Brambleback, let's touch it a little bit on Larssen and Milica, both of whom have just got access to their ultimates. We haven't really followed the mid lane a whole lot. At what point do you sort of want to start seeing them maybe moving around or supporting some plays?
I mean, it's primarily based off of how the lanes are looking for the time being. Like, ideally, Milica would be looking around bot lane, perhaps, but Larssen's had priority over this lane for the majority of it. And even after that bot lane, fiesta that went down, no flashes were burnt. As here we go, Skeanz in the mid.
Making his way forward, flash, bear slap, immediately to the Phoenix dance. The Realm Warp will get Larssen to safety, and you cannot chase that down. Yes,
Look,
I finally got it.
Trevor, technology has improved since 2009 when you last said that or something, because now we have Realm Warps. We can just get out of that one, no problem, so the kill doesn't come through.
It is one of my favorite animations. Udyr is one of my favorite champions. He is so binary and so simple. It's just so gratifying. But Larssen, with the cleanse, the instant channel on the Realm Warp, he gets out, and the first flash blown there will be from Skeanz. So, as you mentioned, the state of the lanes, Larssen shoves that win in. He gets ganked immediately by Skeanz, and that means Skeanz's flash bear slap timer is reset, and this will give some breathing room to anybody else pushing on the rogue side.
Yeah, now, Trevor, here's where I'm going to come in and ruin your day, because I think Flash Udyr, kind of bad. So, like, in general, I think, like, Flash on Udyr is fine, but when we see, like, Udyrs nowadays are going for these, like, full tank builds, and they're stacking a lot of movement speed items anyway, so you could argue having the extra mobility might be useful, but I actually don't think there's a lot of things you're trying to dodge away unless the argument is I need to get out potentially, like, a Jarvan ultimate for it. But realistically, Udyr's role in a team fight is going to be pressing E and then auto-attacking all 5 people, right? So having the extended mobility of a Ghost could be useful, as now Skeanz back in mid one more time, but with Trymbi in the area, he's going to slow things down as both bot lanes roam up.
Yeah, we saw just as Rogue back, they were the first ones to send their duo up top, already in lane, and now Comp and Labrov making their way up as well. Odoamne, again, first in lane. We'll catch that wave, start shoving that, as it looks like Szygenda will be able to arrive in just a moment or two. Not too many minions to work with, but already a small advantage here on the road camp, plus 700 gold. Of course, some of that first blood helping out a little bit. A big advantage for Odo, big advantage for Larssen already in those 1v1s. We've not watched them too much because there was a lot of action in the 2v2s.
Yeah, the only thing I care about watching is the CS bar on Larssen. Continue to zoom through the roof here. And the man just farms for days in mid lane. Eventually he's going to start sealing away Raptor camps and everything too and have 200 CS in the blink of an eye here. I wonder if Rogue want to play for the Dragon. That's where Inspired is sort of set up for the time being. I think he's going to be able to find this one with relative ease. The obvious response for Skeanz would be to start up the Herald. He will be on a ward though, so that will mean that likely we see Hans Sama and Trymbi give the respect over, because Herald very likely can be making its way towards the top lane after that one goes down.
And will Skeanz drop it quickly or make another move? There's the exploratory W coming out from Hans Sama. Obviously, Herald is pulled all the way back. Comp and Labrov going to help out. Trymbi just hit 6 there in minion
that's so
wave.
cute. So actually, Inspired left the Drake, and Odo said, I'm going to pick this one up. So now Inspired is going to run up towards the top river, and that Herald's not going to go down. It's going to fully reset. I think Skeanz spent a lot of time trying to pull it out there, and just clever play using the bot lane priority that Odo generated in the 1v1 to finish off the Drake and let Inspired go up to contest the northern objective.
Fantastic decision-making here from Rogue, and again, it's just one of those reasons why their early games have looked so strong in the opening stages of the spring season. Very nicely done, and that means that Odo, he returns to lane. They've got the first dragon. The Herald has now been stopped, and Rogue, if they want to contest it, they can, but they've slowed Vitality, they've slowed Skeanz and Szygenda, despite going Mega Gnar. Chucks the ultimate out, it's just for a little bit of a trade, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's a cool play there, because I think most teams would just commit and say, hey, you know what, top side of the map, that's where their jungler is, we can just go ahead and take that even trade. Larssen almost lets the blue reset, getting a little scary on that one, but he's going to now use his ultimate to get into the play, the rest of the team on the way.
Jumps on to Milica, gets caught out, dunked down, Cataclysm. Teleport is now going to bring Szygenda. Remember, he just used the Mega Gnar and the ultimate. Larssen's going to flash away to safety, claimed by some time. Here comes Szygenda, not going to find it with the boomerang, but Labrov takes it down with the Fisher. Trymbi's going to be forced to flash to safety. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. Vitality bite back.
Nah, man, that's BS. Larssen juked everything. Come on, man. How are you going to let him die to a Glacial Fisher? That is just rude. I love this play, too, because Larssen just soloed blue buff on his own, so you'd expect that's being handed off. Inspired maybe bot side. The rest of the team, though, comes around from the other angle, and then a well-timed exhaust reduces all the damage from the hyper. Larssen jukes out the Winter's Bite.
Oh, that stings so much.
This is why I hate Christmas.
If you have Christmas trees up in January, it is too late. Christmas is over. Get rid of it. But
Tear down the decoration.
It ends up being a trade of 1-for-1. And the thing that I want to call out here is that Vitality and Rogue have kind of been ready to respond to one another's plays. Inspired and Skeanz in particular, I think, especially in the early stages of the game, and now you see with the supports roaming, they're reading each other well. And for the time being, Vitality staying very, very close to Rogue. This is the closest first 15 minutes that we've seen for any team against Rogue.
We'll see how long that can end up holding together here. Because again, like I do feel like Rogue's team fight is going to be a whole lot stronger, and there's going to be so much pressure on comp. Just doing a quick little check in on the gold. Both bot laners relatively even for the time being, so that's a-okay for the side of Vitality. But the more they can do to funnel resources into comp, whether that's turret plates, whether that's side lanes, whether that's a jungle camp here or there, the better it's going to look for Vitality.
And we see the first big ticket items being completed now for Rogue. Gore Drinker for Odo as well as Inspired. Still working their way up for Hans Summer and Comp. And it looks like Vitality going to stack up just a little bit down the bottom lane here. Skeanz, I want to go back to that decision-making that Inspired and Rogue did with Odo peeling onto the Dragon. During the draft, you were talking about how Skeanz likes the heavy farming style junglers. Udyr, champion that can get ahead, and he did early. But literally with that sort of one decision from Rogue with the information they had, they slowed him down. And if you actually look at Inspired, he's currently sitting very pretty as that Rift Herald was summoned bot. And we get a couple of plates, but not much more than that.
But it's the right place. You know, you want to put the Herald into the lane where comp is. And the more you can get him, the better. Now Larssen and Inspired are moving the way towards top. And Milica does have an ultimate, though, if he was to try and support. So it's just going to be a blue buff handoff. And they are on a control ward. So Vitality know exactly what's going down.
And they counter the play in time. Larssen's Realm Warp is on cooldown. There's no flash available for Szygenda, and he will be able to Gnar in just a moment or two. The boomerang's coming up. Odo can turn, gets the W down, manages to throw out the Q for the heal, starts to back away. Szygenda's gonna Gnar out and look at the mini-map.
Poured in.
Here comes Milica. Destiny engage the Gnar is flashed away from, but Milica will throw the auto and pick up the kill into Odo. The Christmas trees come out from Labrov, and Larssen is exhausted. Get inside the Cataclysm is Inspired, leverages the tower to help.
Oh, he went too early!
He survives, it's not enough just yet. The tower aggro is juggled perfectly from Vitality. They get two and they get out.
It's a massive blunder there from Inspired, though, throwing out his Q way too early before the Zhonya's went down, so they weren't able to trade back at all. That's just 2 kills there for Vitality after Rogue spent so much time trying to set up the dive. They ended up deciding not to go for it, but Odo, he's taken down very low, and the rotation was already coming up, so support and mid for Vitality are on the way. Of course, the Destiny Gate comes in, which sets up the kill very nicely on towards Odoamne, but here's where things go really haywire. Larssen's going to be able to run away with the phase rush, even against that exhaust with the healing bonus, but then here, the Q comes out way too early. Of course, he was going to get stunned down, was Inspired anyways, so maybe he's not able to find that kill either way, but an unfortunate sequence of events there for Rogue as they get punished heavily.
Yeah, they really do, and at the 15-minute mark, it is only a few hundred gold in the lead for Rogue. It's 4 kills to 2 for Vitality, 2 of them on Skeanz, 1 for Milica, 1 for Labrov. They really want to try to get some of those onto comp. Obviously, the key player, the key champion on this composition. But with the advantages they built up, it means they're going to be uncontested on the second Drake of the game. This will be 1 apiece. We'll see which Rift are we going to be playing on. It's going to be the Ocean Rift, but we're a long way away from the Soul. A tower hasn't even fallen just yet. And it looks like
we should see turrets here, I think, right? The map's going to be split, so I think top lane should go down to Hansama. Comp should be able to finalize the last hits on that bot side. Churdy's going to get that solo as well, so it's a race. Who can do it first? AD carry versus AD carry.
Going to be Comp, and it's going to, of course, be Turret First Blood secured there. And now Vitality, they're actually exciting me. When I came into today, looking at this game, looking at how Rogue have been playing over the last few days, over the last few games, rather, I just expected them to stomp. That's why.
Okay, Trevor, we get it. They picked Udyr. You like the champion.
I freaking love the champion. He's already picked up his Turbo Chem Tank. Doesn't quite have that Ghost, but we'll be able to use that Chem Tank to initiate with. And now with the towers starting to fall, you talked a little bit about this Ryze in the side lane and how Larssen is 50 CS up, by the way. He's an absolute monster. And I don't really know how Vitality can deal with him without a numbers advantage once he manages to move there, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just nailed it. Numbers advantage.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all you can do here. And they did a good job of punishing Rogue earlier on. Now Rogue playing very well with the Fog Forth. This is a classic play from them right around that wall. Labrov not ready for it.
Oh, he is not. There's the Cataclysm goes down, locks in Labrov. Hansama comes in with the ultimate, but
TP
there's
flank.
not enough damage just yet. Vitality on the turn. Milica's come in with the Destiny Gold card, but he's blown up, flashes away, does not survive. Trymbi goes forward with a Magnet Storm, holds the Vitality in place, but the damage is not there to follow up just yet. Szygenda forced to flash away, and nobody from Rogue can chase him down because they've got their attention on the numbers. Labrov with the Unbreakable is broken, and Rogue, they managed to smash that fight.
Classic Rogue playing right around the corner of vision there. Labrov not expecting it. And the only unfortunate thing for Rogue is that there's no Baron they can turn to. They're just going to go back, pick the waves, likely knock down this middle turret, but an excellent fight and an excellent bounce back after the misstep in top lane.
And you can see how the composition from Vitality, they were caught out of position, but they just got blown up so quickly. This was the engage from Rogue playing on that control ward. No hesitation for the counter attack.
That's the
from
one.
Vitality.
Nailed it. All right, so here's the TP flank that comes in, but Milica maybe doesn't expect there's a ward in that bush. He gets instantly stunned up and just destroyed. Szygenda also doesn't have Mega Gnar ready to go, so the entire flank idea from Vitality just fell a little short. Even Odoamne, he was just trying desperately to get into this fight. He misses the Realm Warp of all things here, and won't be able to participate, but Rogue still with a solid fight, up 2-for-1 off it.
And it makes me think a little bit about the pick and ban discussion you had, Ender, on how Vitality want to kind of peel backwards, buy space, buy time for comp. When you're locked inside the jungle there, not the best place to be. And obviously, they were the ones that were initiated on and caught out. Skeanz is going to run forward. He's got the Phoenix starting to burn down. Larssen forced to flash. This is actually going to rocket pack forward. Gets caught inside that Cataclysm. Here comes Odoamne. Finishes the teleport. He's inside the Cataclysm. They will get themselves their 5th kill of the game. A 2,500 gold lead. And Rogue feel like they've been activated.
Yeah, there's not a lot of ways to get out of Cataclysm for this Vitality team comp, right? You pretty much got flashes on everyone, and then I guess a Gnar and a Braum that can escape, but not your primary targets right there. And Milica will end up getting punished off of that play. I mean, going back to that draft discussion you were trying to bring up there, the other thing is like Vitality, all their damage is primarily single target exclusively here. So even if you do set up that big Gnar Wombo combo, there's nothing really to play off of it. So again, they have to be very mindful of when is the right time to jump into the fight. You likely don't want to start the fight off with a Mega Gnar, but rather build into it, then use it as that big turning point within the fight once you've built up some sort of a lead. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find that as Rogue continue to push further ahead.
That is such a nuanced approach. You know, like Gnar historically has been build up the Nobos somewhere else and use that on the TP, come in as an initiation tool of sorts. But if you are trying to peel backwards, if you're trying to deal with a very fed Inspired, by the way, 3-1-2, 100% kill participation on a Jarvan champion that I've not seen very much of in the course of the last few weeks, but he's doing exceptionally well despite the 5 bans throughout the course of the draft phase. And now Vitality, they're on the back foot. It feels as though over the last 5 or 6 minutes, Rogue have initiated multiple plays. And while Vitality have got some kills, the control, the pacing is on Rogue's terms, and it's where they are picking the fights.
Yeah, I mean, even the couple of kills that Vitality did get were based off of a play where Rogue just pushed a little bit too far. So it is Rogue typically acting and then Vitality reacting. Seeing them get some control in the river, grab a Scuttle Crab themselves. Very nice here for Vitality to maintain some vision around this Baron area. But that's at the same time that the Drake is spawning, so I think it's largely expected that Rogue played down towards that side of the map. And once again, Inspired doesn't have to be here for the objectives. Guys, you don't always have to have your jungler around. If you have control, if you know where the enemy team is going to be, Hansama is going to be able to find that for himself and then walk back into the jungle and probably steal away a Braum camp. Yeah, Inspired doesn't deserve it. You deserve it, Hansama.
It's just a great demonstration of the level of coordination that Rogue are...
See, if that was solo queue, Hansama uses a W and takes the big wolf too.
Well, he would have. Not solo queue though, and this time around will at least allow Inspired something. Rogue are now defending their own northern quadrant. It's 21 minutes in game. That gold lead is still 2.5k, and with now the Dragon going down, just setting up the Baron vision, playing around there, making sure nobody can sneak that one. The one thing I will say is if Rogue are the team that continually initiates and dictate the start of fights, there are some ways that Vitality will be happy with that. If they are able to peel backwards, not be caught out, not be caught by surprise like Labrov was just a few moments ago. And for Rogue, now they're just going to start pushing these waves out. They got themselves 2 towers secured. They're clearing out that vision that I talked about. I think trying to get that mid turret down from Milica will probably be the next port of call for them.
Yeah, you know, they were able to take down a lot of these outer turrets. I think the next job for them is to get that mid lane outer. But we haven't really seen Rogue put too much pressure inside lanes. It has just been, you know, playing around the fog war when they can. So now, as Baron becomes a more viable objective, I would expect to see maybe Odoamne stick towards bot side, Larssen maybe split towards top and try to see where they can pressure and find those points where they can attack, where they can play just outside of the vision range of Vitality. But before they do that, they're going to have to reclaim and remove a lot of these wards that Vitality are very persistent with around this Baron still.
And those side lanes are going to be terrifying for Vitality because Szygenda's currently down, what's that, 55 CS to Odo on the Renekton, who's very comfortable, 2 items completed already. And of course, Milica has to deal potentially with Larssen. The mid turret just abandoned. Rogue will peek their eyes in with their mini wave and knock it over without any threat whatsoever because we're full in the vision game. Like both teams kind of tunneling the last minute or 2 around that objective and playing to at least clear out and try to control the area. Both teams, I feel, could actually take that down relatively quickly if they get some time to do so.
Yeah, maps is split, actually, for the time being. Vitality have control of top. Inspired taking away the red buff, and Milica takes so much damage!
So much damage.
Yikes.
The combo with Rell is just disgusting.
Yeah, that was rough. Of course, I think trying to ult behind Milica then to get the breakthrough on the attraction there to get the extra stun and knock down Milica. Very nicely played by them. And now Vitality have Braum on the northern side here, but he's going to have to vacate the premises. Rogue with full control over mid can now sweep all the way back through here and remove all that vision that Vitality spent so long trying to put down there. Although it does look like one ward is going to stick around on top of the Baron, so not the end of the world here for Vitality, with some clever spots to make sure they're out of the eyes of a control ward.
So let's put ourselves in the shoes of Vitality now. On the back foot, down in gold. Comp is sitting on the PD and the Kraken Slayer, but he still needs a lot of time during the course of these fights. Do they just try to pick a fight around a dragon or a baron where they can actually attempt to bait?
It's just so weird because I actually don't really feel like Vitality have a lot of good options with their comp. Because again, I don't like their team fight chances. I think they're already disadvantaged going into a fight, and because, I mean, even just comparing AD carries, Hansama is going to be far more useful than comp will be moving to these fights. 3 finished items now for the Kaisa. So Vitality, maybe they can try to play towards side lanes, you know, but the problem is Rogue haven't been giving them options, because when Vitality tried to set up for top side, try and make a play there, well, Rogue just immediately trade it and go around bot, and so I think by dodging that out, it makes it very challenging, and even some of the itemization from Vitality makes it seem like they want to look for the picks, right? Like a rapid fire as a second item for Milica. It feels a little bit early to me, especially when, you know, Milica did fall very far behind, when we're not seeing any side lane attacks happen. I feel like he may have been a little bit better served with some more damage coming into these fights, as opposed to trying to get that extra utility in the range of course, that gold card.
And of course, that's going to be so difficult against Odoamne in particular. Vedius crowned him the weak side king yesterday. It was a self-proclaimed title from Vedius, but I think it's very, very fair. Odo is one of the smartest players in that role. So if you're a Vitality fan hoping that they can try punish him, well, Szygenda's going to do a lot of damage in mini Gnar, but knows there's no real threat, knows where everybody else is, because if you look at the mini-map, you can see the cluster of both Vitality and Rogue clearing out vision, and this is purely coming down to what feels like a Baron dance.
Exactly, and here's where the strength of Ryze comes in, is like any other mid laner, and Milica's trying to port down into bot side and make that kill happen. It would work, but because it's a Ryze, and you know it's a Ryze that's very powerful at this moment, you can't opt in to that fight. So Vitality are forced once again to sort of chill out for a bit. The other thing is Vitality don't have good hard engage. Like, how do you actually start a fight off? It is a flash bear slap. You know, that's pretty much all you've got to work with, or the gold card, and it just feels very awkward for them as they fall behind and don't have the tools to fight, don't have the tools to force either.
The Ocean Drake is up. Rogue will be making their way down, or at least just Odo seems to be for now. Rogue now going to step forward. Hansama burning through Szygenda. Killer Instinct goes forward. There's now the Mega Gnar. Skeanz and the rest of Vitality making their way back. Flash over the wall from Hansama. Trymbi's going to be the first target. Will they be able to be taken down by Comp? his first kill of the game. A numbers advantage while the Dragon will be secured by Rogue.
Yeah, this is big for Vitality. They have to take the fight, so they're going to run over to the Baron now. 5 versus 4, but it's just the support that was lost on the side of Rogue. No flash on Hansama either, and that will be critical. 5 versus 4, and Rogue are still going to look to take the fight. Milica's
got that rapid fire cannon. Gold card will lock down onto Inspire. The teleport's coming in from Odo. He's going to jump onto the back line, holds the trigger for now. Another kill to comp. This is great for Vitality, but crucially, Rogue have stopped the Baron.
Yeah, Vitality are going to get right back on it. Trymbi spawns in 3 seconds, and we'll have home guards run out here, but it's not going to be fast enough. Odo pops the ulti and is ready to jump in.
Odo ways to find the opportunity. Flash is available to him. Baron is only 6,000.
Szygenda's teleporting in. He recalled to get back to have full HP, TPing the fight with home guards.
No flash, no cleanse for Hansama. Baron is going so low, and Rogue decide to concede it. Rogue walk away, and Vitality will find themselves a few picks, punishing Hansama and Trymbi, who initiated on Szygenda. That was what started this passage of play.
Look, there were not many windows for Vitality to make anything work in this game. Their backs were against the wall. They knew they had to force something, and I really like how they started this off. So Rogue actually the ones to try and jump on towards Szygenda, with Hansama jumping forward with that the Kai'Sa-Rell combo we were talking about. But because Vitality were playing around Baron, but not committed to it, they were very fast to react and punish and kill Trymbi. And here's where they say, forget the Drake. That's just the third Drake. We have to start up Baron to force them into a fight against us. And Milica now, playing on the side of the fight, playing inside of the brush, made it so they could remove the jungler. Now the jungler's gone, and it's a 5v3. Well, Rogue simply just do not have enough options to get back in and contest the Baron.
But now Vitality with that Baron, they've closed that gold gap ever so slightly. Infinity Edge picked up for comp, along with those 2 kills that he secured. Vitality need to be aware that the next Dragon will be the Ocean Soul for Rogue. Despite the fact that Vitality have this Baron buff, this was what brought them back into the ability to contest Rogue. They're playing from behind. It is still Rogue that are marginally ahead, and they do have the advantage.
And if we switch over to see the gold on the individual players, the huge winner was comp. That's exactly what Vitality needed. He has 3 items now. He has a stopwatch for the next fight to try and make up for the fact that he doesn't have his flash ready, and he's got the 2nd most gold in the game, just behind Hansama, so it's exactly the position he needs to be in. Will it be enough? I'm still not yet convinced, but with the Baron, Rogue are gonna have to take the backseat.
I mean, the Baron-empowered minions are gonna help in the side lane so much because of the advantages that Odo and Larssen have accrued throughout the course of the game. And the fact that Larssen has held on to this mid lane with Rogue until 29 minutes. It has finally fallen. But Rogue are now on the defensive. Still a minute to go on this Baron buff. Vitality will make their way through the eastern quadrant of Summoner's Rift, and Szygenda is going to start to back away. He's now running out of options if there were any engage from Rogue. And it's 2 minutes until the next Ocean will spawn. This is Soul Point.
Yeah, it's Soul, and that's huge for Rogue because you're not going to be able to get into the same dance. Drake is also going to spawn before the Baron comes back, so Vitality will be forced into that 5 versus 5 unless they can get a pick to precede the fight. This time, Rogue are going to need to take it more patiently, right? They don't want to put themselves in positions where they can be picked off, especially because when you look at it down the board, the AoE options, the CC options, the DPS options are all superior for Rogue. It really is just some of the mobility options that Vitality have, the pick tools they have, and the ability to buy space for comp that gives them a shot.
The moment Rogue group up as that 5-man, the power of the rapid fire cannon starts to diminish. The strength of the flash bear snap starts to diminish. Comp has got no flash available. He's caught out. He's caught inside the Cataclysm from Rogue. Rogue saw Vitality retreating. They have punished the recalls. They have got the bottom lane. That is not acceptable at this point. I think a cheeky recall. The vision from Rogue punishes Vitality.
Look, it's a 700 gold shutdown onto Hansama. He's absolutely feeling himself going in with the ulti. Now he does damage, Trevor.
He absolutely does. Szygenda will be able to crunch his way to safety. Here comes Skeanz. The rapid fire gold card into the wild cards. There's no further follow-up. But splitting up as you're retreating from a Baron-powered siege and then getting caught out on the recalls. I need to double-check the full vision setup, but it just felt like Rogue had full awareness.
It's just a critical error, right? Skeanz is running away, and they actually saw them running away, so Skeanz and Szygenda go over towards the left side of the fight, and oh, it's comp sticking around for a Grump. I mean, the positioning is terrible, right? Without a blast cone, there's no way for you to escape here on the Vayne. It's a huge error here for Vitality with Hansama getting huge gold. He also, yeah, that means he has enough for a 4th item coming into this fight. Comp also loses the stopwatch, critical. He doesn't have his flash immediately. That should come up right around the time the Drake does spawn. But Rogue, they're positioned for the Drake. Skeanz is topside. That's just a free Ocean Soul, and now it was already losing for Vitality. Now I don't know what you do.
Uncontested Ocean Soul here for Rogue. And just heartbreaking. Vitality, they were able to find the picks to punish Rogue's engage in the mid lane that set up the Baron. And then just as they are backing away from a very confident, very aggressive play, it allows Rogue to once again regain control. Now we're still a minute and a half from the Baron if you were to play this one safely. Rogue likely push some vision out, get control of that pit, and maybe play around that objective. Maybe they can force Vitality's hand. It has felt as though the majority of the fights, the majority of the skirmishes have gone Rogue's way. It's 8 kills to 7, so that feels to me like what this game is going to be like.
Good movement there from Odoamne to juke on out of that. Of course, if he goes back towards the tower, probably losing a ultimate or a flash off that. He also has a Gargoyle Stone Plate, so a lot of survivability added in there. Asterix on him as well as the Jarvan 2. Azonia's on Larssen. So they have a lot of great tools, and they will Comp.
Flash, slice and dice into the stun. Comp is forced to run for his life, and the flash keeps him alive a few seconds longer. Vitality have been able to peel for now, but Rogue are not yet done. Inspired, the flag and drag and the Cataclysm. He extended it with the flash, and there's nothing Vitality can do. That was exquisite from Odoamne, and then Inspired and finished up by the rest of Rogue.
Yeah, big one. Inspired knew he had to kill the Vayne. He spotted her, and now they're going to win the game off that huge team fight victory. The Baron hasn't even spawned just yet. They're just going to run down mid lane and see how much they can get.
Man, that initiation, the flash E from Odo's Renekton, managing to find Comp. All credit to Comp, he was able to put some distance, but the Vitality team composition was not able then to peel enough. So the inhibitor will fall. Skeanz buying some time. He's distracting Rogue for just a few seconds. And with 10 seconds for Comp, 20 seconds for Szygenda, Rogue will get the inhib, get the supers, and now peel back for that Baron.
Yeah, and there's not much Vitality can do here. They can't really sprint back on the map and try to contest it. I mean, sure, 10 seconds away, Szygenda has TP, so they might as well try here before the resets come in, because Rogue are an unstoppable killing machine at this point. An Udyr, though, has no way to get to the pit, so it'll go down before Vitality have a chance.
Too late to the party. Skeanz will be able to smite Hunt Summer. It's about sending the message, and now Szygenda's actually going to hop over the wall, and there's not enough support here from Vitality, so a little bit of poke, a little bit of time is all that will be. But Rogue with the Ocean Soul, with the Baron buff, with the 6,000 gold lead at 34 minutes.
I love it from Rogue.
And the engage onto Skeanz. Inspired leads the way, locks Skeanz inside the pit. Labrov and Comp will be holding the line for now.
Look, the fight doesn't happen here, but I love that decision from Rogue, because almost every team is going to say, okay, we just got Baron, Vitality are all back on the map, let's reset and spend our gold. Rogue say no. Usually the play from the enemy team would be to walk in, take Raptors, take Reds, let's stick around and go for the fight here. Let's check out how they dive onto Comp. Of course, Comp has to use his flash to get on out of that one, but then Inspired, he's a man on a mission. Comp jumps back in, because of course he has to put down auto attacks, but Inspired gets the flag drag combo, comes right back in with that Cataclysm and shuts down Vitality ADC.
I mean, that Condemn was just millimeters away from the wall.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have had a dramatic impact on the
I mean, he goes unstoppable, right, as soon as he presses R,
So there we go. Good attempt from Vitality, but unfortunately Rogue are just superior. Their composition is working more synergistically together, and they have been in control, but it has been a very closer game. And we're seeing some variants, some pop-off moments from individual players. Skeanz on this Udyr, still yet to die, by the way. 2-0-2. It's not the Udyr game I was hoping for, but I got my
I mean, it's better than 0-0-0, so I'll give him that. We saw that earlier.
We did earlier today. And of course now for Rogue, I mean, do they play? How safe do they play this? This is the question.
Not that safe. Like, they've got Baron buff, they've got supers in mid, so the play is you put 4 people in top lane, walk in the supers. Odo's going to walk in the supers in mid, of course, and then look for that sort of side collapse on towards that top lane tower. They're tanky enough that they can just go ahead and dive here, feels like, with Inspired, as long as you find Comp. No flash on Comp means he's a sitting duck.
Yeah, it's got a quarter of that cooldown still left available, something that I haven't explicitly said. But Larssen has had plus 100 CS over Milica for a little while. Flame Horizon just playing fantastically on that Ryze. It is a bit of a signature pick, and it's great to see him handling it so well.
Yeah, also zero wave clear from Vitality. It's a Vayne, a Twisted Fate, a Gnar. What are you going to do? Absolutely nothing. Now Odo's in a prime position with that pressure in mid. He's going to walk it over towards the top tower, so they have to back away. That means a second inhibitor, and now Rogue. They've got 2 super minions. They could just go for the Nexus.
Follow Comp. Keep your eyes on Comp. He's the crucial member of Vitality. If he can take down one member of Rogue at a time, that is how they win a fight. But it is such a tall order against the Realm Warp, the Flag and Drag, the Cataclysm, every single other tool. But Rogue, by the numbers here, they got Supers top, they're going to get Supers bottom. We're 50 seconds from the Elder. It'll be
Here's
Elder
what I want.
and then the
Here's
base.
what I want, because they're doing it by the book. Larssen, stick around in mid lane, use that Realm Warp. Let's bring some super minions into the bot lane. That's the spice I want to see. He's going, okay, he's running away.
I absolutely
I don't know what he's doing.
love when the minions get ported into the base and the faster taxi to the Nexus. I mean, it's 8.5 grand. Rogue, I think they got a little bit of a rude awakening, I feel like, you know, a little bit of a, ooh, let's not bite off more than we can chew. Remember, they lost the very first Baron of this game because they initiated play and got punished. So 20 seconds until Elder. All the backs are in. Supers are pushing the lanes. We're going to go for Elder, then we're going to go for base. This is Rogue. Clinical, clean, by the numbers.
Put me to sleep, Trevor. What are they doing?
I take the word clean back. I take the word clean back. Take a look at this now. Odo's going to rejoin the fray. So 5v5 inside the river, and Elder is up.
Yeah, huge pressure in the top lane too. 2 super minions going to be funneling in on that next wave. So you already see Milica. He's getting out of that bot river, and he's moving back to try and clear away those minion waves. The only real shot here is Skeanz to jump in and steal away the dragon. He's in a good position for it, and he's flash Udyr, so he actually has a way to get into the pit. Let's see what he can do, though, because there's no wards left inside the river.
If he goes inside the pit and sacrifices himself, it'll be a 5v4 Nexus defense. Milica staying inside just to clear out those supers. Skeanz going to get jumped on. Everybody from Rogue over the wall. Defensive flash, not inside the pit. But now the Elder's not being focused. Skeanz is now available once again, but he can't get over the wall. Elder's being focused down, and Rogue will be able to pick that one up. They've now got themselves the Elder Dragon as well. Now they're going to make this final push into the base.
Okay, Rogue, is this enough before you win the game? I mean, I don't know if they're trying to, like, stack up the fantasy points or whatnot. I don't know what Szygenda's doing over here. This is rough.
He's got himself the Gnar, manages to lock up Odo and Trymbi, but there's no damage. There's no one else to follow up. So Mega Gnar is now going to be on a little bit tired. The Gnar cooldown is not available, and it's the final stand. It has felt like Rogue have been in control for a long time, but Vitality have not gone down without a fight, and they have been able to find a few small picks here and there to drag this game out and make Rogue work for it.
I'm gonna cry. They're going bot lane. They're setting up all the minions. This is what they have to do. They're taking it slow. They're taking their sweet time with it. Comp has a flash up. He's level 17. He's gotten so many minions to farm up here. Still not fully stacked on his items, though. Hansama's gonna have all 5 and some boots ready to go. So now we sit and we wait. Inspired, his ultimate gonna be up in about 15 to 20 seconds. A minion wave building, ready to crash into that bot lane turret. Vitality, no wave clear, remember, but a gold card onto Jarvan. What can they do? Run
Nothing
away
right
in fear.
now. They're going to run away in fear indeed, because Odoamne is now making his way onto the bottom inhibitor turret. And Rogue are just looking for the target.
It's time.
It's a lot of damage onto Odo. Inspired's going to go in. Great Cataclysm into the Magnet Storm. That sets it up for Hansama and Larssen to bring it home. Szygenda and Milica run away for their lives. The Realm Warp will try to chase down Milica. He's running from the towers, and the rest of Rogue will turn onto the Nexus. It was a end in style, but it took a long time to get there. Rogue fancy themselves a fountain dive. Are they going to go for this one? Flag and Drag is there. Demacian standard into the Dragon Strike. Not going to go for it just yet. The Winions doing all the work for Rogue as they remain undefeated at 5-0. They're still not going to go.
At this point, I'm taking it personally. Come on, Rogue, hit the net. Thank you, Odoamne. Thank you. The veteran top laner realizes that you have to hit the Nexus to actually finish the game. Thank you.
Rogue go 5-0. That was a game of League of Legends.
Yeah, felt like a couple.
And you have to go back to the drawing board and think about that Vitality composition. Despite a few decent plays here and there, it didn't have any answers to what Rogue put on the Rift.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little too one-dimensional. It didn't have enough tools in the kit. Like, it really did all hinge on comp, and then you saw the majority of fights that he wasn't enough on his own. Then they did have that one big one where they were able to find the picks, but then if he makes one critical error, if he doesn't have a flash up to escape from the Jarvan ult, there's just not much you can do. So Rogue came in with a better plan, better execution from minute 1 on.
You can see on your screen right now, Vitality, stern, serious, heartbroken.
I mean, that game just feels bad too, because like you're losing the whole time,
Yes.
and then Rogue just keep taking, like they're not giving you the windows. They gave you the window when the Baron happened.
The worst part about that is that Baron
Yeah.
and then the push. The fact that Comp and Vitality stuck around for the Gromp, that they got punished for that, like, that is purely on you. You know, that feels awful. Nevertheless, Rogue won the game. Your Key Player of the Game nominees, you can vote on Twitter at LEC Inspired, Larssen, and Hans Sama. I think we're already not going to find out in a moment. Are we doing? No? I mean, okay, Rogue, undefeated. They play.
They want you to, no, they want you to,
They
they
play
want you to toss
G2
Trevor.
in 2 weeks. I wonder
They
if they're going
baited
to be
you.
undefeated. We'll learn more about Rogue's win in just a few minutes as they remain on top of the LEC. I was too quick.
What would you do without me? What would you do without me, Trevor?
I'd suck. I'd be awful. Limit's gonna get caught up, flashed over the wall. Labrov is down. The dragon is available in 10 seconds time, and Sjokz found their moment. The double sleep. That's a gigantic stone to Milica, and he's blown up.
I can out jungle so hard that I can just take over the game. I think that confidence is really good for you, so Julius can be cocky all he wants. I believe that time will tell who is actually good at the game.
Now comes through, does not quite work out for Humanoid though. Gale Force still coming in. 80 carries so incredibly mobile. Humanoid still alive, but that is a gore drinker Olaf, baby.
Welcome back to the LEC 5-0 here for Rogue, who are first in the standings, and Larssen. I guess that you expected to be first after week 2.
I don't know. It's not something I think about, like what position we will be in. I take it game by game, and I mean it's nice to be in the first position. I guess G2 is also playing today, so they'll probably join us. And yeah, it's nice. It's going well.
All right, game by game. So let's focus on this game against Vitality here, because they tried to match you in fights, but they were never able to match you actually and be successful in fighting you. So what's your analysis on the composition they had compared to yours?
It was actually a bit scary for Vayne Braum, because it's not something we play against a lot, and if we go too deep, maybe they will pop off. So we're taking it kind of slow, as you were seeing it in game. I was just farming like I usually do, and then Trymbi and Inspired got some really good engages off. But it was definitely a very slow game, and I would like to win way faster next time. It's kind of boring to just be farming whole game, even if I flame Horizon. It's like, I'm not doing anything, you know, I'm just farming.
Farming the whole game, but still, I mean, you got to bring a pick that we didn't see so far in the meta, which is Ryze. It's a champion that we often see in the League of Legends seasons, but still, outside of the ability that it has to match Twisted Fate around the map, what's the use of this champion, really?
I mean, the tier buff is really nice for him, because you have so much mana in laning phase now, so I can just perma push the TF, and my ult can match his ult, kinda, right? Like, not completely, but kinda. And it's also a champion I like a lot, as most people probably know. So, yeah.
Good to see you on Comfort Pick and winning and also having fun now. I know it's a chat that I had with every Rogue member so far, but how is this season going for you, Larssen, with the Rogue players?
It's going really good. We have, as you can see, I mean, on stage games we're 5-0, which is like really good. So, and we have a very good environment, and the new players fit in really well with us. So it's going great. I'm really happy, and yeah, we just need to keep going and win against G2 as well, right?
All right, well, keep going then. We'll be waiting for the match against G2 Esports. That's not for now. But Larssen, thank you so much for the interview. And for more about this game, let's send it over to Sjokz.
Thank you very much, Laure. Nice to hear from Larssen, as always. Indeed, they are meeting G2, but that is in week 4, so we have to wait a little bit for that one. Now, we've been telling you about how good Rogue has been playing, and this was a pretty scrappy game, but still we wanted to take the time in the segment to kind of dissect the game and pick out a couple of things that they do well, not only in this game, but usually. And Caedrel is going to tell you about the Church of MMM.
Yeah, I think that there's 3 core fundamentals that a strong team always has. It's macro, micro, and mechanics. I think if a team has all 3 of these, then they're really winning their lanes, they're winning in team fights. And I think there's 3 really good clips that we've got to show you what we want to dissect, what the MMM really means. It's something that I came up with backstage because I think it rhymes really nicely, so I really like the slogan MMM. But the first one we've got is a macro move. It's a really, really good move from Rogue, and it starts with the Drake.
Yeah, and I really love this one, especially, Caedrel, and I love it when you pointed it out to me in the game as well, because what you see here is Inspired is going to start the Drake, but about halfway through, he's going to let Odoamne take over. And this is maximum level League of Legends min-maxing, Kripparrian level, some would most certainly say, because realistically, Odoamne doesn't have enough time to solo this Drake out of the stage of the game. Szygenda could easily contest him, but in this small window, because the Drake is held at half HP, he has just enough time to take it without losing a significant advantage, while also allowing Inspired to move up.
Exactly. Vitality's on the Herald. Inspired needs to get there fast. If he finishes this Drake, he won't get there in time. Use Odoamne to push out the bot wave, finish the Dragon while Gnar is catching the wave or pushing the next one, so Inspired can get to this Herald in time and actually stop them from being able to get it. So net plus for them, they get the objective, Vitality don't, and the game progresses with just a net advantage for Rogue.
And this is just not something that you can just think about. Of course, you have to think about what the wave state is going to look like. You have to call to each other, you know, how is it going in your lane, and if you're able to make that move if you're Odoamne. So I guess, again, that's a cascading effect from how comfortable they are with each other and playing with someone like Odoamne who can set that up for you.
Well, and it's not something we see very often either. It's actually very rare that we see a maneuver like that. So it speaks to the creativity, it speaks to the communication, and it speaks to the awareness of these players, especially when you take into the account the fact that Inspired's playing J for that game, a champion that we literally never see. So on top of having to worry about how to play this champion on stage for the first time in a long time, he's also considering the Renekton's wave state. Odoamne is communicating, and it looks good.
Sorry to shut you down. I know Caedrel's excited about his MMM, so what's the next one?
So next on the list is micro. I think micro is a key thing in League of Legends. It's a thing that you might not notice too much because it's such a small factor in these things in League of Legends that you can abuse. And we've got a clip to show you the small kind of things that League of Legends has lots of hidden things in it where you can play around with vision like this, where you see here, or you can play around with wards and try and trick the enemy team into thinking that something's going one way when it's going the other. So Rogue tried to get the engage, and they do get some of it engaged, but I think the key thing about this fight is when the Twisted Fate ultimate comes in. So if you pause right here, I think that the problem that Rogue have here was the fight they're clumped up and they're getting sandwiched on the blue buff. Now most teams when they get sandwiched, they kind of scatter, they panic, and then they lose the fight. But the key thing that Rogue does here is they turn all on the same target. They single out Milica, and all 4 of them commit to that play, and then they dissect the fight from there on, basically.
Yeah, and as we watch the rest of this clip roll out, you can definitely see that it really works so incredibly well for the rest of the team. And while Vitality maybe had a good collapse, if they get the stun card, if Rogue panic, if Rogue are not playing together, Trymbi immediately leaps in to further disrupt the team fight on top of that, and Rogue ultimately make the best out of what could have been a bad situation, or at least a failed play when you see how that initial engage didn't immediately net in a kill.
And I think micro is one of those things that you can't really, it's not very tangible. It's something that you feel. It's like this thing that you feel in the game that you feel that something's going one way or another way, and you kind of go with gut instinct in a way. So that's kind of what micro is. It's hard to describe, but you definitely feel it when you play the game.
Yeah, and it's what we always say when we see teams that are performing at the highest level, that they don't use as much communication, but they just know what has to be done at every given point in time. And if you have good mechanics, the last thing you want to point out,
so micro's all about instinct, basically. So then mechanics is the execution. You have to be able to execute the fight properly. You've set up the micro, you've got all the macro, you now need to execute the fight. So the third clip we've got is just showing off Rogue's mechanics in the fight. I think that they played the fight so well, and just small decisions in the fight that just changed the whole structure of the game. Odoamne goes in with the first engage, and I think you need to just keep your eyes on Hans and Inspired here with the engage. Now watch Inspired. He gets the EQ, the flash EQ I believe it is, and gets a double knock up. And then on top of that, he knows Vayne comp's going to knock him away. So as he knocks him, he ults to cancel the animation, and Hans jumps in the backline too. So the fight's just won from there.
Yeah, and the thing that I love about Rogue is the second they know that they're going to win a fight, they go in so fearlessly, and you see that especially in Hansama, who has, been playing, I'm not going to say the most quiet game, but a relatively quiet game up until that moment. But when it comes time to shine and he's got his items, absolutely showed up in that one.
And he was also rewarded by the viewers once again. The same thing happened yesterday, I believe. Kia player of the game. Hansama with 42% of the votes. Really, that AD carry, that does exactly what you need him to do, especially in a team like Rogue, as you say, waiting your time, doing your job, and then making sure that you pay out the team in dividends when it is time to show up.
Yeah, I think Hans played the game pretty flawlessly, I must say. He had really high kill participation, huge damage dealt, and I wasn't a huge fan of the draft from the side of Vitality. The Vayne is a counter to Kai'Sa, but I didn't see it working out too much. I think Rogue's draft was very one-dimensional in terms of let's make picks and let's just team fight.
Thank you so much for breaking that down, giving us a bit of a better view as to why Rogue is performing so well. But we'll see if G2 Esports can stay even with Rogue in first place as they face off against Schalke 04.